look for our guide and we cut from shorter to longer. Over directed, look for our guide, shorter to longer. So just make sure your fingers are always kind of positioned in that shorter to longer way, and then we'll drop that down. So now that we have our side cut, we will move to the next side. And so what I'll do is change my body positioning, and I will come around to the front, and I will take a little piece of the guide that we cut in our previous section, our first section, and I will join that in with the same parallel to the hairline section on the other side. So I'm taking a little bit of this. Right here is my guide. And then I'm still making sure that my hands are in a shorter to longer body position. Here's my guide, and then I'm going to make sure that I over direct this forward towards me. Let's find my guide again. So there's my guide, and then I'm going to cut up shorter to longer. And it's okay if some of this falls out of the section. You just want to make sure that you're doing that anyway, just to preserve that length and not create too much through that section. So I'm finding my guide once again, right here, and then shorter to longer. So I'm going to take my next section parallel again. Move that section back out of my way. Over direct it forward. There's my guide. I'm going to cut shorter to longer. It's okay if this little piece right there drops, because that's going to be my length. Just make sure you over direct and you cut from shorter to longer. And now I'm going to take my next section right just in front of the ear. It up, and I'm just going to keep following my guide and cutting into it. And get this section pulled up, over direct it forward. Here's my guide. I'm going to cut from shorter to longer. Okay. Now as I start to get to the back section, I'm going to start to pivot my body, so you won't be directly in front of the client. Drop your length, then pull your section up. Find your guide. There's your guide. Make sure you over direct it forward. Short to long position, hand positioning, find your guide and then cut. And then you can pivot your body to go into your next section, taking some of the guide from your previous section, dropping the length, pulling your section up, over directing it towards you, finding your guide, and then cutting from shorter to longer. So you can drop that next section. And then we're going to go into our last section, taking just a little bit of the guide from the previous section. We'll pull that up. We'll drop some of that length. Comb through it. Pull this section up and over direct it towards you. Finding your guide and then cutting from shorter to longer. Pull my section up, we dropped our length, over directing it forward. There's our guide, and then we're cutting from shorter to longer. So we can go ahead and drop that section. Okay, now that we have our layers cut in the front, so really with this cut, it's gonna be much shorter around the face, and then it preserves the length in the back. Do you guys have any questions so far about the cut? All right, let's move on into the back section, where we will take our dead center back section just to make sure that our guides from both sides meet up, and we'll actually be doing probably about 5 sections where we'll go from the back of the ear, 1, 2, 3, actually about 6 sections. So we're gonna start dead center in the back, and really what we're doing is connecting these top very concave layers into the length layers just to kind of cut that little bit of a corner out of there. So instead of over directing it forward, we're going to be going straight out with our section. So what we're going to do is find our guide, and then we're going to cut that corner out of there. Then we'll take our next section and take a little bit of our guide from our dead center back section, and we'll comb that straight out. Combing it straight out, finding our guide, and just kind of cutting that corner off right there. Cutting that down. Then we'll take our next section. So we're just kind of marrying these two sets of layers into one another, marrying the top in with the length. So we'll go straight out. We'll find our guide, and then we'll just cut that corner right off. And we'll go to our next one. We'll take a little bit of our guide from the previous, and then adding, and this is gonna go. And you can over direct these back pieces into the middle slightly, just so. Find your guide right here and just cut the corner off. And then we'll move around to the other side, taking our center back section where we started off at. Taking a little bit of our next section in with our previous section, pulling it up and combing through that section, and then looking to find our guide, pulling it straight out. There's our guide, and then we just kind of cut that corner off. And then we'll go into our next section, taking some of our guide from the previous. And you can over direct this back just to marry those lengths together. So here's our guide, and we just want to cut that corner off. I'm going to take some of our previous guide and go into our last back section here. And then we'll over direct this one back. So just combing through our section and then over directing it back to the middle just a little bit. Find our guide and just cut that corner off real quick. Okay. All right, after you're finished cutting all of your layers in through the length, we're gonna move around to the front section. And if you have to re-wet the front section just a little bit, then what we're going to do is we're going to take a fringe area, and we're going to do a half an inch into an inch parting to create this nice fringe around the face. We're going to tuck this length back behind her ears just to kind of section it off. So we're kind of in between inch to an inch. On her fringe area. And we're going to comb that down and just line this up just a little bit better. There we go. Comb that back into there. And then what we'll do is we'll take our fringe and we'll bring it and we'll pinch the ends of it. Pinching the ends of it, bringing it down to the nose. And then point cutting into the fringe. So if you have to pick up your section, pinch it, and bring it down to the nose. And we're keeping our fringe a little bit longer and just point cut through that. Then when you let it go, you'll have your fringe area on this side right here, and then your fringe area on this side right here. And they'll be nice and even. So then we want to connect our layers into our fringe area. We're going to connect our fringe into our angles right around the face right here. So what we want to do is we want to pick up our fringe and we're going to come over top using our slide cutting technique. And we want to really just kind of take our time and gently kind of go through that section. You don't want to be too fast through that, and just take a little bit of it out at a time. So coming over top with the shears, opening and closing using the slide cutting technique, and just coming down and marrying the fringe in with the rest of the length. So you want to slowly kind of come down. Don't go through this too fast. And then you can just pick up, coming over top, cutting through the section, little pieces at a time, as to not go too fast. And then we'll pick up, and you want to have a little bit of an elevation, not much of an elevation, and just kind of chipping away at that, sliding down through that section. And we'll check the last little piece. Then we'll move around to our other side. We'll bring our section back around front. And once again, we're marrying our fringe into our length right through here. So we're going to pick up our fringe with the side. Have a slight elevation to it. And we're going to gently slide cut from the guide that we've created with our fringe, and just ever so slightly whittling away at it. Find our guide where we left off, and then elevate a little bit, and then slide cutting through little bits at a time, so we don't take away too much of it, and we just kind of marry those together so we don't disturb her length. And just slide cutting through little bits at a time. Okay, we'll just connect this right here, finding our guide and just whittling little bits at a time until we have finished with our Fernanda haircut. You can pause it right there. So after we've gently squeezed to check the balance of our Fernanda haircut, we're going to go into the styling portion of the cut, which is done by Anya Seegers and myself today. And first we're going to use the Tea Tree Firm Hold Gel. This is a maximum hold gel, and it has